We are live.
Nice.
Hello, internet.
Hello, internet.
Hello.
Are we there? There we are. Now it says live on my end.
Live from New York. It's Saturday night.
Okay.
Not quite.
Pretty sure. Shut that down.
Elena, we didn't hear you.
What are you pretty sure about?
I said on Friday night.
Haley might be jumping on, just FYI.
Yeah.
Cool. Yay.
Go. All right. So, we have gathered here today to discuss a very
Are we getting married?
Yes.
Okay. This is so unexpected.
That's legal now.
Surprise. So we are, I can't think of any other phrasing now, gathered here today to talk about the LGBT issues in Fantastic Beasts and how we feel about them and how our friends feel about them. Mainly our friends from the Sweet Beastie Common Room. And, yeah.
Nice.
That's
we're here to talk
some
about Dumbledore's gayness.
feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
Here's to talk about Dumbledore's my number one.
Yeah. So welcome.
Is anybody watching yet?
I can't. One person is watching.
Nice.
It might be me,
It's
though.
my mom.
I have it open in a different window.
Oh, it might be me also.
We're all just watching ourselves.
Are we putting out the YouTube link, or are we putting out that Google link?
Put out the YouTube link.
YouTube link.
Okay.
What I just put out.
This.
Tweet it to your fans, Michael Harley.
I only got like 3 people who even paid attention, and like 2 of them are you guys, so it's fine.
Cool.
Attention to you, Michael.
So we have a Google Doc that's about twice as long as any of our episode docs.
So get comfortable.
3 hours later.
Settle in, friends.
We've got some shit to say. Or at least you guys have some shit to say. I am going to be the lovely moderator who tries to keep the discussion on track and answers chat questions if anyone decides to watch.
On track discussion in my Speak Beastie?
I know, right?
I don't get it.
I'll not be able to censor cussing, so...
I thought of that earlier. I was like, oh no, we're live. I don't swear.
Would you guys say that this episode is explicit, but by any means or stretch of the imagination?
Oh,
guys,
I see what you did there.
Sam is watching us, so do it for Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Hashtag do it for Sam.
Mm-hmm. So do you
make it trend?
Do you guys want to do intros?
Michael, tell us who you are.
Just put Michael on the spot.
Oh, cool. Right when I'm typing and trying to tweet this out. That's fine. Hi, guys. I'm Michael Harley. I'm from both Speak Beastie and Alohomora from MuggleNet.com. And since I don't know, are we doing this or not? Hell, I'm gay. If you didn't already know,
Michael.
By the way, yeah. So
that's very explicit.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if
can you
keep
that?
Yeah, it's too much.
That's me.
He's the one that does the voices.
Yeah, he's the famous Michael Harley. So
that's true.
Now, why don't we put Igor on the spot since he's the one who put me on the spot?
Oh, jeez.
And since he doesn't exist.
Yeah, I exist on Hangouts only, and in one episode of Speak Beastie, and I am the editor of Speak Beastie, so actually I'm on every episode of Speak Beastie.
And he works harder than all of us combined.
No. I'm
Amen,
also
Hollywood.
gay. I'm here, I'm queer, and
that's my favorite phrase. Go on.
Yeah, and I want Dumbledore to be there too, here with me.
Oh.
Hold on, like 1 sec.
Okay, so Megan, tell us
I'm
why
back.
you are here, because you are not gay,
Yeah.
not queer, not here, but you're here.
Not that I'm aware of, at least.
That's weird.
but-
I've never heard of someone who wasn't queer but was here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to break the standard.
True.
I'm here to, as I said, try to keep things on track. And also, if you're watching, please type your questions and comments into the little box, little doobly-doo. And I will look at them and force these lovely people to address them.
There's only one true ally, and it is Megan.
I don't know about that. That's too much.
Megan puts A in ally. Because that's the grade we give her.
I appreciate it, and I don't know how to respond.
Great.
That's how I feel every time.
Shannon, go.
I'm Shannon, and I'm a host of Speak Beastie, and I am asexual. So,
Woo!
You get the A.
yeah,
Not
I
me.
do. Literally.
It's true.
It does belong to me.
She has a hat and everything.
Do you get a hat when you're asexual?
A hat?
Well, she has a hat.
I have lots of hats. I don't
Wasn't
have
it-
one convenient, but
Didn't you? I thought you have PodCon.
oh yeah, I do have an ace
Is that
hat.
a hat?
I should have.
Okay. I was like, am I crazy? Am I making things up?
Yeah.
You're making things up again.
It's far
Elena.
away.
It's what we bisexuals do because we're not real, you see.
That was a nice segue.
Yeah.
Well done.
So I'm Elena and I'm bi. Hi.
Hi, Elena.
I also use the terms either queer or pansexual too, because I'm just like, people are shiny and I'm about it. So
Yeah.
Cheers.
and I'm a Hufflepuff.
Yay.
I'm a Ravenclaw.
Very hardcore Hufflepuff.
My dear Craig.
Nothing.
Yeah, who's this Craig guy?
That is me. I'm
What?
Craig.
Hello.
I'm a GG. I'm a gay Gryffindor. I am not
He
associated
swears.
with Speak BC or MuggleNet other than being a fan and tagging along sometimes when Megan brings me to MuggleNet related things. But
That's true.
I'm very glad that you guys included me in this conversation. So thank you.
Craig does
Thank
have
you.
some podcasting experience of his own.
I do.
Do you want to tell them about it?
Oh, am I allowed to plug about my own
Yeah.
podcast
Yeah, do it.
and your podcast?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, that's so nice.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug time. I am the co-host of a podcast called Splatter Chatter. It is about all things horror and haunted and Halloweeny. And if you're interested in those sorts of things, you can find us on iTunes and on SoundCloud. Splatter Chatter.
Woo! It's
That's
good.
beautiful.
I listen to it even though I actually hate horror, and I enjoy it. So,
It's not too scary.
right. It won't keep you up at night.
It's a raging endorsement. I like it.
What has happened to Igor?
He'll come back.
Well, he
He
doesn't
has fled.
exist, so you know how it is.
All
Back
right.
into the
Why are we
boundless
here?
world.
We are here
Because
to
David
discuss
Yates sucks.
we're here because David Yates. So, to put it into a nice little nutshell, according to David Yates, an article came out this week that he said that Dumbledore is not explicitly gay in the Crimes of Grindelwald movie.
Mhm.
Discuss.
Go.
Well, everyone, clear your schedules. This live stream is a 24-hour live stream.
Oh,
It
God,
will not
yes.
for anything except an apology to David Yates. But, you know.
We
Just
have a
count.
lot of thoughts on this topic, both good and bad. Like, you know, there are different ways to read it, which is why it's a discussion.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another page.
Is that a Haley?
Oh, is that a Haley?
I figured it out. I had to do it on my phone. My laptop did not like me.
Aw.
But I'm here.
Welcome.
Haley, quick, introduce yourself. Who are you and why?
What? What a loaded question.
Just why?
Why?
Who am I,
Haley?
Who am I? What am I? Who am I, Sammy? What am I?
Oh my gosh,
fantastic piece.
This live stream got so much better.
Okay, so I'm Haley.
Not that it wasn't great already.
I also a host. Good old Gryffindor over here.
Woo!
Why not is my answer.
That was a good answer.
That's pretty much where
I'm wearing my Dumbledore's army shirt because I thought it was appropriate.
That's very appropriate. Good
Very
work.
appropriate.
Okay.
Is Dumbledore's army a gay's army?
So we actually just started to dig in.
Nice.
By the way, that over there is my friend Craig.
Hiya.
That over there.
My cat wants to leave the
Just
room.
FYI.
Sorry.
Can I, before we dig into like the actual discussion, I want to know when David Yates said this, why EW was like, we're gonna go ask David Yates if Dumbledore's gonna be gay. Like, okay, thanks Entertainment Weekly.
I think this was all the same interview. Like all the stuff that they've put out that he said was one interview that happened like months ago.
Well, that's a good point.
Yeah.
And they're probably planning a whole page of Fantastic Beasts stuff.
Because what was the last thing that he said that we didn't like?
Oh, I had my
can't
Twitter
even remember.
That like Johnny Depp is a great guy.
Oh, right.
It has been 0 days since our last David Yates nonsense.
Yeah. Basically.
Remember
Since our last nonsense, but
remember like when in the Harry Potter movies people would say, "Oh, David Yates is so quiet. He never talks."
Again, though, I think this is all one interview that he gave that
makes sense.
These were questions that he probably wasn't prepared for. They just kind of were like,
But
hey,
now
dude,
EW is
answer all
stirring
these controversial questions. And they're like, oh my God, look at all the clicks. So
Let's save
that's
them
where
up.
we're at.
Let's ration them.
Yeah.
Ration the clicks.
Should we talk about what he said exactly?
Yeah, let's read out what he literally said.
Do it.
I'll do it.
Literally.
Give me 2 seconds. 1 Mississippi. Okay. According to the Crimes of Grindelwald director David Yates, this year's sequel at least will not directly reference Dumbledore's sexuality. And then it quotes him saying, not explicitly. So it does not say what their actual question was, but he says not explicitly. Yates replied when asked if the film makes it clear that Dumbledore is gay. But I think all the fans are aware of that. He had a very intense relationship with Grindelwald when they were young men. They fell in love with each other's ideas and ideology and each other. Which is a very awkward way of saying that, but okay, David.
AKA, yeah, he's gay.
Yeah, he's
that
like,
answer
he's
makes
gay,
no sense. Like, yeah, like, does the film makes it clear, not explicitly? How can you make something clear, not explicitly?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of the thing. Like, what does explicit mean?
This kind of reminds me of Beauty and the Beast again, when people were like, there's an, like, what was the wording they used? They're like, there's an explicit
big gay
scene.
moment.
Yeah. And it was like...
The big gay moment was 5 seconds of him dancing, which was cute and lovely. Like, I adored it. I had no problems with what was done, but I had a problem with
on the back.
It's
so
the big gays! And you're like, what?
Maybe
you're like, huh?
This is me joking, but what if David Yates is trying to give himself, he's trying to undersell it, so then people are super surprised.
But you guys were kind of saying in one of our threads that is kind of what you're looking for in like a gay moment in a film, something more understated.
I'm raising my hand and you can see me because this
I can see you,
Michael Harley.
because the thing with Beauty and the Beast is while like everybody made a big deal about it, and then I think for a lot of us, especially who were perhaps open-minded about these kinds of things, it was kind of a moment of, oh yeah, it's just LeFou dancing with a guy at the end. And also, that guy was cool.
And Mrs. Potts telling him that he don't deserve no man.
Yeah.
Like, just Mrs. Potts being amazing.
Well, what it is though, is that even though that didn't seem like a big thing, perhaps for those of us who want that or expect that to see that in movies, for Disney, that is a big thing.
That was huge.
Disney does not have a history of doing that. And so you have to also look at it within the context of where this is showing up. And in the context of Harry Potter, the most we have had is Rowling saying, well, Dumbledore's gay. I didn't write it, but he's gay. And that's great. And that was a big step for when she said it in 2007.
Yeah. Over 10 years ago.
That's nuts.
Yes. And now things have changed so much, and to the point where pretty much everybody, as I mentioned in our discussion in the Speak BC Common Room, which listeners you can join if you haven't yet by going to our Patreon.
Patreon.com/SpeakBC.
You should do the whole entire 1920s spiel right now.
Oh,
and how?
But
Shannon.
Where's my pillow?
Yes, the pillow. Yes, that's
my pillow is somewhere away. I don't know where it is.
But,
Haley and I were prepared.
But here we are 10 years later. Everybody in the fandom read Cursed Child and was like, whoa, that was super gay. And then
they were like, no, we were like, that sounds like
kidding.
A lie.
Yeah, so it's like, no, but it's not. But at the very last
sounds
minute,
fake.
no, there's a girl.
Sounds fake. Fake news.
And people were actually
Amen.
Kind of like, oh, well, that would have been nice to see. A lot of the fandom was ready for that, felt that they had been queer baited by Cursed Child, which is a term we can talk about here. But because of that, I think a lot of people were like, okay, well, how are you going to make up for it? Well, you've got a big gay character in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and we know he's gay, so what are you going to do with it?
Well,
so
that's like
nothing is the answer.
It's like I don't need Dumbledore to say I'm gay. I've never expected that to happen.
No,
partially because I just don't expect them to do that, and also because it does take place in the 20s to 40s.
Yeah, and on top of that, sorry, Shannon.
No, just like you don't need a character to say I'm gay to have them be gay.
I was gonna say on top of that. On top of that,
you go ahead.
Dumbledore. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Dumbledore as a person is not an open book. At all. You know what I mean? Like Dumbledore himself would not be like, "Hey, dude, guess what? I'm gay. Let's talk about it." Like that's just not his character either. If you kind of think about it that way.
And that's
who knows? Maybe he's changed. Maybe he used to be.
Yeah, maybe my question with this, like, not explicitly thing is, does he mean, oh, no, he doesn't say he's gay, but we all know he's gay? Or does he mean, like, oh, we're really not, like, putting that in there?
Yeah.
Like, it's not clear. It's not explicit what the not explicitly means.
What my first thought when I read it, at first I was, like, really mad because I just kind of, like, went to Dumbledore's not gay because I saw like a Twitter like headline and I was like, what? That can't be real. And then like when I was reading it more, like you're saying, I kind of my understanding of it now is like David was really stupid in how he said this, but it's like obviously Dumbledore's gonna be gay in the movies. It just doesn't even make sense. I'm kind of he just is like you can't hide it.
Well, that's like everyone in the world knows Dumbledore's gay. So
well, that kind of leads into another talking point that we have, which is like, what are the expectations for how his gayness should be represented in this movie? And you guys were saying earlier that like no one is expecting him to run down the street in rainbow suspenders and throw glitter in the air and scream, "I'm queer!" Like that's just not what anyone wants to see.
That's what I'm here for.
Elena's disappointed. Okay.
All of your glitter needs. No. But I actually have a thing to say on that. Just like I feel like there's this stereotype that like in order for a queer character to be in a piece of media, their coming out has to be part of their story. Like that's the only story that queer people can have. We must come out with such a struggle. And it's like, no, you can just like, we just organically exist in the world like any other person. And so the way to address it is through things like the subtleties that they use in Beauty and the Beast, where like at no point does LeFou just go, "I'm gay." Like he dances with a guy there's a one-liner that Mrs. Potts gives him, and you see that obviously he is having these feelings towards
Gaston a wink.
Gaston. Yeah, like he's totally about it. It's all in his body to be stated.
Well, and it's like, like Michael said this in the Speak BC comments, and then you tweeted it that like we only need Newt to touch Tina's hair to know he's straight.
I loved that line.
Oh, that's a good point. I love that.
Well,
and
we like that's
copyright
it.
Michael Harley.
Well, that came up because in a lot of the discussion there, and I do want to read it. I pulled a few comments because I wanted to make sure we kind of put in context a little bit more why we're doing this, because MuggleNet posted about this news on Facebook, and follow the rule: don't read things that go up on the internet.
You know how great Facebook is.
I have to read these things because it does speak to
this is where
why we talk about this stuff, because there were people who responded with things like, why does everything have to have an agenda? How about you just enjoy the story like you did as a kid? Is that so hard? Or he is gay, but he also isn't exactly the poster child for an openly gay character. Absolutely, but he is very private, and it shouldn't be some huge plot point. He had a childhood crush on Grindelwald, but I took it as that kind of crush that you have before you realize what that is. I want more representation too, but not at the expense of the story. There needs to be some stories told that include LGBT, but just don't throw them in a haphazardly way at every opportunity. That doesn't do anybody any good.
What?
Or
there's no sentence that causes me more rage. Just none.
Including the relationship will do nothing but help some sections of society be happy. Why do you guys want sexualization to be put in the Harry Potter movies? The movies were good without explicit sex scenes, and they'll be good without them in the future too. Yes, these are real comments that were left on MuggleNet.com.
We were all so mad because we were like, "Are you telling me there's not going to be an explicit gay sex scene in Fantastic Beasts?" I'm enraged.
Honestly, Craig, what were you gonna say before?
That's ridiculous.
Well, this is. If we want to focus on these questions now, we can, because it would have kind of circled back. But I was just thinking about the explicit versus subtle moments, because explicit to me would be Dumbledore walking around London and Paris being like, "Hi, I'm Dumbledore and I'm gay." and that doesn't fit. That's weird. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. But something subtle like the Newt Tina hair moment, that I could still see that happening. That to me is something subtle that would still convey his sexuality. And I feel like the Yates comment statement or whatever ruled out the "I am Dumbledore, here's some glitter" version of events, but I don't know that it ruled out a hair moment.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the hard thing is what would that moment be for Dumbledore? Because J.K. Rowling has already said he never really loved anyone else after Grindelwald, so it's not like he's gonna have a boyfriend or whatever. Right. I mean, there are definitely
David Yates to go on. But then David Yates goes on to say he's a rebel, a very kinetic guy, and I'm just like, so is he winking at a dude across the bar? Because I'm here for that.
I agree with what Shannon's saying. I think that at this point of the story, Dumbledore is in that state of I can never love again because I'm going to destroy anyone I love, kind of. That's his mindset.
Oh, poor baby. What a dramatic gay.
I know. TM.
So typical.
I feel like what we're going to I think we're going to see this, and what it's going to be is those flashback scenes of a young Dumbledore and a young Grindelwald have both been cast for this film. So, or at least for the franchise, because they've been cast. Perhaps they're not going to be in this. They just cast them early, but I think that's where you're going to see it. And I think you're also this is kind of a tangent, but what I kind of see happening in this series is that there's going to be a quote unquote bigger confrontation reveal of Dumbledore and Grindelwald being I don't know, you know what I mean? More of a confrontation about it later down the line in the series. And what I saw is, do you guys watch Screen Junkies? Or know about them?
I know
so
them.
They talked about this this week on And someone made kind of an interesting point. I thought it was about that if you're kind of thinking about framing this out the way that you learn that Snape loved Lily, you get his actions, you get in these first few movies, you get Dumbledore hating Grindelwald, you get just like his actions, and then in the last Fantastic Beasts movie, you're getting the reasoning is because I loved him, kind of like the Snape and Lily parallel.
Yeah.
And that's why he's saying it's not going to happen now, but the end. But it like maybe later. I don't know.
The thing with that.
Wait, can I say something real quick about Snape and Lily? Because when I read the whole always thing, I did not get that Snape loved Lily until
I'm saying like the line.
No, I know. I'm just saying like personal tangent. Like that was too subtle for me.
A whole nother topic.
So when the comments that Michael read before, it seemed like people were angry about the comment, there needs to be more stories that include LGBTQ+, but don't just throw them haphazardly at every opportunity. That doesn't do anybody any good. So what?
No, nobody's doing that.
Right.
Like, queer people's existence is not haphazard. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Like, straight people exist. Queer people exist. We just want to see them represented equally.
Can I read you guys some comments from 2 years ago when I wrote an article about how Charlie Weasley is totally asexual?
Yes.
It's my favorite article ever on MuggleNet.
I've
shared that on social media.
Stop reading into things too much and stop seeking validation from fictional characters. Also, stop inventing terms to try to make sexuality sound so darn complicated. It's not that complex. Yeah.
Well,
sorry. Just roast them from here.
There was another one. It just seems like MuggleNet sinks lower and lower with every article. Like, okay.
Christ.
So I don't understand why people feel the need to label everyone and everything around them. What does it matter? I don't get today's obsession with the subject. And it's like, okay.
In an era of discussing privilege, when you are straight, and especially, I'm sorry, but when you are white, and especially, I'm sorry, but when you are male, that sorry, you didn't get a triple.
2 out of 3.
When you're a cisgender male.
Well, yes, when you fit all 3 of those boxes, or if you fit at least some of those boxes, and you do have a certain amount of privilege in that respect, when you're talking about things like this, where you say, "Oh well, why is it a problem? I don't understand why people don't see that as a problem."
Because everything is for you.
Yes, because you wouldn't see that as a problem, because we are taught from the Disney movies we watch from, age 0 to understand heteronormative relationships, especially in Disney's case, heteronormative relationships between white people. So it's that's where I think where these comments come out of. It's basically the equivalent of plugging your ears and just going, la, 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 I don't need to hear
Definitely.
it. And that's not doing anybody any good as far as moving forward with progress. That's what you're saying when you say, I don't understand why it's not important, when you respond to other people's comments of, well, it's important because this, and this.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I don't want to, because we're saying like, oh, he doesn't need to say I'm gay. I don't want to downplay the importance of characters using labels. Like characters saying I'm gay and coming out scenes and stuff. Like that is all very important, but it's also important to show characters who just that's just who they are.
It's like after that point, there's still life. Like there's still things that are going to happen to you that have nothing to do with that.
Yes.
So you still have a story after you come out.
I want to say something about that coming out stuff, because J.K. Rowling gave an interview to Pottercast in 2008 where she said that the wizarding world tends to be more tolerant and indifferent towards gays and lesbians, and that Hogwarts is considered a safe place for queer students. She was talking about the 90s, right? Because she was talking about the Harry Potter series. But if that is not a problem in the wizarding world, why is it something that has to have like small importance in this franchise, because Dumbledore can be gay without saying I'm gay, because people don't care if he's gay.
Yeah.
I mean, agreed. Like, that's kind of one of the, I think, best kind of things about the Wizarding World, like, that it represents. Because, I mean, for me, as a child, one of my favorite things about the Wizarding World that J.K. Rowling has talked about is that there is less sexism, because a woman can defeat you as easily as a man can with a wand. There's no power. There's no like powering there. That's one of the things I love about the Wizarding World, is that it shows that acceptance, but it hasn't really. She said the things about the LGBT community, but it hasn't been shown in the books the same way that I think that the way that she championed feminism has. You know,
and that's because she's a woman, but she's not gay.
Yeah.
So along
hashtag white feminism. What?
Along this line here, I think we should talk about like what this means for the story. Like, how would Dumbledore being explicitly gay serve this story? And we don't know the story of the Crimes of Grindelwald yet. We don't know what it's about. So it's hard to immediately say. But it does seem like the franchise is going to be steering heavily towards the Dumbledore storyline.
Yeah.
I don't get why people don't understand how this is like a huge, important topic to the film, because they are telling the story of Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
But they're
how
not.
Dumbledore defeated Grindelwald.
That's sort of a background story at this point. So I think what people are confused about is like, okay, maybe it doesn't make sense where we are in the story for us to see anything between them. Or like, you know, the story isn't about Dumbledore and his love life. So why is it important that we see that about him?
Then why did they include Dumbledore and Grindelwald at all in this story that is about Newt Scamander? And clearly, in my opinion, Rowling this, and you listeners, if you listen to Speak BC, you know we've talked about this already, but clearly this was not J.K. Rowling's intention to include all of these characters. I really do believe this was a Warner Brothers mandate to say, hey, we need to tie this in more with Harry Potter. We don't want this to be so independent that the casual fan doesn't get it. So bring Dumbledore in.
You keep going, Michael.
Well, the only thing I was going to say with, as far as why you bring them in, I feel like, at least from the studio perspective, especially because Warner Brothers allowed what was released from Entertainment Weekly, and they have clearly partnered with Entertainment Weekly and condoned what gets released, I'm getting a sense that the Dumbledore Grindelwald storyline is now in itself being used as a form of queer baiting to keep the LGBTQ plus community interested in what's going to happen at the end. And I'm still in my head very convinced that the most we're going to get is something like Dumbledore standing over Grindelwald as he's defeated and going, I love you.
10 out of 10 would what?
And that's what we'll get. And that's kind of what Warner Brothers is, I don't know, gearing up for, is to be like, surprise, you get that. Like that's currently the thing.
Yeah.
In family entertainment, that's the step they have taken. It was kind of pushed off with The Legend of Korra. And if you haven't seen that series, listeners, you should definitely watch it. But there was a reveal of that nature at the end of the show. It was at the very end. There were hints that were dropped for people who were watching and paying attention. And I feel like the same thing was done with Beauty and the Beast. The same thing is being done here. They're trying to take baby steps with family entertainment. But at the same time, I think we are beyond the need.
Well, and I'm like,
steps.
If they could get away with a moment like that if they just shut up about it. If they stopped saying these things,
yes,
agreed.
Then I would like bother them less about it. At David Yates.
Yeah.
I hate you, but
I feel like I feel like once they wrapped filming for Fantastic Beasts, someone just handed David a shovel and was just like, here, friend, make your life easier. Like, just help you. Like, because he's, like, seriously, everything he says lately is just like, David, what are you doing, honey?
Well,
why are you like this?
And we've been having some great comments, actually, in the live chat, and Ann L. Said, Entertainment Weekly also unhesitatingly confirmed that Leto was Newt's ex-love, who's sexualizing the books now.
That's
you know,
funny.
that's the thing, is that we're not meaning to
Somebody give Anne a high five.
explicitly, like, you know, obscenely sexualize things by saying that we want a more solid confirmation that Dumbledore is gay within canon. That's not what that means.
I want to say something about that, because people think about gayness and LGBTQ, and they think about sex, and they hear the word sexuality, and they think about sex, and they think about the act of sex. And Megan said she read something along the lines of, why do we need to know about Dumbledore's love life? We don't need to know about Dumbledore's love life. We already know about Dumbledore's love life. Rowling already told us about Dumbledore's love life. We need to know about Dumbledore's life. Dumbledore's life is intrinsically related to the fact that he's gay. Because if you read Freud, if you read any philosopher that talks about sexuality, you will understand that sexuality is not just about the act of sex. It's about personality. It's about the way you interact with people. And that is extremely important to understand a character if you are showing how their life was on screen. So I think that's very important to show, not just, I don't know how to conclude, but my points were that.
Agree.
That's why I was giving you poetry snaps, Igor. That was beautifully put.
Everyone in the chat, Igor is giving you high fives too.
Thank you.
Like, seriously.
So I was gonna go on to a thing about if we want to move kind of towards J.K. Rowling's tweet too, about what she said in response.
Yeah.
Let me pull it up. Let me
Since you're moving on to that, guys, I'm gonna have to duck out because.
Are you? No, I scared Michael away.
Sorry, no, not at all. But sorry, I could only give so much time for this. So sorry, guys, I'm really sorry. But thanks for inviting me for this.
Of course.
Thanks for jumping on.
Good luck with the rest.
Nice to talk to you for the first time, Michael.
It was nice talking to you properly, Igor, for the first time. And Craig, it was nice talking to you too.
It was nice to meet you, Michael.
Very nice to meet you. And listeners, keep commenting. We're seeing your comments in the chat, and they're excellent. So keep that up. All right, bye.
Love and hugs.
Bye.
So long.
All right.
I'll have to go soon too.
No, guys, I can't
You're
talk
gonna
about
lose
this
all the
myself.
gays.
I know. What am I gonna say?
Who's doing this?
What have we taught you, Megan?
David Yates, are you doing
taught
this?
me not to say things about this stuff without other supervision.
Fair.
Okay, let's talk about something that I think is important. Do you think that Dumbledore and Grindelwald's relationship is explicitly gay in Deathly Hallows?
No.
I mean, the first time reading it, I read the books after, because I'm the youngin', after I learned that he was gay. So I read the books in 2008, starting them. So my cultural, just pop culture knowledge in my mind is Dumbledore is gay. So I read the books being like, Dumbledore's gay. That's just how it is.
That's interesting.
So when I read the scenes about him as a child, I was like, oh, because he's gay. I get it. I'm an 11-year-old and I know everything.
Oh, Haley, you sweet summer child.
No, so 11-year-old Haley with the prior knowledge of it did, but I clearly think that most people reading it for the first time did not pick up anything with that.
Yeah.
Well, it was one of those because I read the book, when it came out, and then it was like, oh my gosh, but when you go back and look at it, it's some nice subtext that sits in there. It's in there.
I feel like I was definitely like, girl, are you sure?
Yeah.
I think
when I reread it.
But I think what I picked up on most when I read it and always thought about it afterwards was that even when we had the official context that it was gay and romantic or whatever, was that it was one-sided.
Yeah.
And that's why I was surprised when Yates, didn't he say something in his comments like, oh, and this intense, like he implied that it was mutual?
Yeah, that's true.
And I was like, oh, I've never got that sense from Rowling or from any
she's always denied that. She's always been against that.
I think that was probably just Yates.
Yates being Yates.
Well,
just Yates.
I gotta say,
Right.
I think part of the reason that this particular set of comments from him has received so much outrage, I don't know if you guys have ever read The Giver, but they have this line in it where they're like, precision of words, like, it's important what you say, so say what you mean. And the fact that he chose the word explicit, like, okay, dude, I know that you're not using it in that sense. You're using it as, like, not the only thing. Like, you know, he's not stating it outright. Would have probably been the better phrase to use. But he has to understand that, like, referring to, like, anything gay as explicit goes back to what Igor was saying. Like, everyone's under the impression that anything queer is overly sexualized, and that's not the case. You know, so it's just kind of frustrating that, like, he would use those words, but I guess, you know, that straight white boy privilege must be nice, and he just hasn't educated himself about those things. So I hope I don't think that it's fair, and this kind of ties into what Haley was about to bring up about, like, the backlash that Rowling's received. Like, at no point do I ever think it's okay to, like, harass creators. Like, people should not be sending, like, J.K. Rowling abusive letters. People should not be like, death to David Yates. But they should be sitting there saying, David, honey, let's talk. You gonna learn today. Like, you know, and I don't know if anybody's doing that.
Well, unfortunately, David doesn't have a Twitter that I know of.
Gosh darn it, David.
So before we move on, along these lines, we have a question in the chat from Shokishnegi. I probably butchered that. I'm really sorry. How would you all want to see this included in the film? What would be the best way, in your opinion?
Well, and that's the hard thing is we don't know what happens in the film.
Yeah.
Here's what?
No,
Sorry.
Michael had a great point about Cursed Child. I want someone to talk about that.
Okay, I can read it. I can read Michael's words out loud. He says, Cursed Child is a great example of what writing a good homosexual relationship looks like, sans the huge no-homo moments sprinkled throughout. The emotional intimacy between those characters is all one needs to put the pieces together.
Yeah. Like, my kind of, like, I always refer to this thing called, like, the Cursed Child test, and it's like, if you look at the scenes with Albus and Scorpius, and you list it as person 1, person 2, and you don't use gender pronouns, you would assume that that is a relationship between a guy and a girl.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the typical heteronormative brain would assume that.
When I read Cursed Child, I was with a group of my friends, and we were all reading it, and I remember us being like, is this happening? Like, this is happening. And we're like, okay, great. We're, like, reading the book. We're like, we ship them. I can't wait till the end of this story.
And
I'm so excited to see what happens.
People watching it.
And we went,
people watching it said that it was.
I've never felt so like at the end of something in my life, because I was reading
what just happened?
What was that? Yeah.
Catherine Lai from MuggleNet staff, she came down to Philly to visit me when it came out. We went to, like, a midnight thing for it, and we were, like, sitting there back and forth, like, reading the same copy. And I think I said that exact thing, Haley. At one point, I looked up and I was like, gays in Harry Potter?
It's happening.
Is this real? Like, oh my god. I was freaking out, and then, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
LOL.
Well, that's
rolling.
Part of the thing with Fantastic Beasts is, like, so we already know it is probably a one-sided relationship, and it happened many years ago, and now one of them's a terrorist. And so, like, already from the get-go, it's not like it's not good representation. It's not like it's not the best gay relationship, but it's the only one we have.
Okay, but what about this is a thought that I had earlier. What about Credence? Like, would that sort of
Credence is gay as
Yeah, yes, agree.
Of like a guy who's not running around saying I'm gay, but like you could kind of read into the things that he does.
Okay, when watching Fantastic Beasts, I see this is exactly what Credence and Graves' relationship is exactly how I see Dumbledore and Grindelwald's relationship.
And that was explicitly gay.
Again. It was happening again. It was like,
So we did have some representation in the first film to an extent. Yeah, again, not the best representation.
Because it was like very predatory. It was very predatory, and that was like frustrating.
It was very creepy and gross.
But I'm like, but Credence, you precious queer little bean. I just want to hug you and protect you from everything.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's like what this series needs is a happy queer couple.
Maybe Credence can get that in the next few movies.
Yes,
I hope so. I hope that him and oh gosh, what did they announce?
How mad are you guys going to be if he ends up with the snake girl?
What is her name? Though?
I think yes, but no.
Did they announce her name yet, or is she still just the Maledictus? Because
IMDb it.
Women of color don't get names in press releases, apparently.
She may get a name.
Who's bitter?
I'm sure she'll get a name.
I just think it's annoying that they're like, this random Death Eater guy gets a name, but this is just the creepy snake lady who's hanging all over our boy. Like, I want them to be best friends.
Don't you?
Elena, I love you, and I know that you have a point, but I think we should focus on one injustice at a time.
Guys, I really need to go.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but I trust Craig with the gay stuff.
That's a lot of pressure, but I'll try.
No.
Do you know what the actress's name is?
Bye, guys.
Claudia Kim. Bye, Igor. See ya.
Oh no, she has a name, and it's a doozy. It's M-A-L.
Maledictus.
No, Maledictus is her affliction.
Yeah, that's not her name.
That's her name. That's her name on IMDb.
That's
what she's listed as.
Well, you know what? In Thor Ragnarok, Valkyrie is a Valkyrie, and she doesn't have a name, so...
Who's angry? Not me.
Even the Thunderbird got a name. You gotta love Frank.
Hey, she was in the
Frank's probably straight.
Yes, she was.
Well,
yes, Claudia Kim was.
Maybe her name will be like, I don't know, a plot point or connected to the larger canon, so they're holding back.
So here's my big thing.
Yeah.
This is my thing with so I'm gonna go back to the J.K. Rowling tweet and read that real quick because that's a tangent I have with that. So
wait for the Dumbledore thing.
Yes. Okay. So back to what J.K. Rowling wrote.
Okay.
Quote is here. Being sent abuse about an interview that didn't involve me about a screenplay that I wrote, but which none of the angry people have read, which is part of a 5-part movie series. It's only 1 installment's been out. Obviously, it's tons of fun, but you know it's even more fun. She meets with a GIF.
Mm. Oh, right, the weird GIF.
The GIF, yeah. So here's the thing. I feel like it's okay. I feel like J.K. Rowling is writing Fantastic Beasts the same way that she wrote Harry Potter. And because of that, in her mind of how she's writing this, is she's like, I can't spoil anything. So I can't tell you anything. And I'm writing this because when we wrote Harry Potter, we didn't know the future, so she would just keep everything secret.
Yeah.
That she's still in that. Yeah, so I think like she's still in that mindset, and I find this kind of interesting. So I was like, but Joe, we all know. I was reading the comments on this like tweet, and a lot of people don't know anything about like this. They know that Dumbledore is gay, but they don't know about this relationship at all. Like to the average Joe in the world, who's maybe has seen a Potter movie or two. Mm-hmm. They don't know. They might know Dumbledore is gay, but they don't know about this relationship. And this, I mean, yes, I'm giving Joe the benefit of the doubt here. I feel like what she's trying to do is she's like, guys, I'm not giving you plot points. I'm not telling you what's happening. That's what I think is happening.
It's worth noting that Please go ahead.
I was just gonna ask Haley, do you have that follow-up tweet? I think she sent like either earlier today or before, where she was talking. Basically, she was like, "Listen, there's still 3 more movies after this one."
Yeah, she
like,
says
more or less.
She says, luckily, someone tweeted at her, at J.K. Rowling, we really don't recommend changing important things about
it was the
characters
Lightning
in the
Thief
movie.
musical
Just saying,
tweeted at
like,
her. The Lightning Thief musical
Lightning
tweeted at her.
Thief musical. Wow.
Which is great. And her response to this was,
Incredible.
lucky I have no intention of doing it. No intention of doing it then. Oh, and believing every bit of Potter clickbait foolish, just saying, #Dumbledore, #Fantastic Beasts.
I think...
So what she's trying to get across is, like, you guys, he's gay. I'm not
get there.
I understand her frustration. Because it is like, I mean, this is all in response to something David Yates said.
She's like, I didn't do this,
four more movies, and this is only about one of the movies. But I also think, like, she needs to say, like, don't worry, guys, he is gonna be gay.
So we have some interesting comments here. Melanie says, some of my friends didn't even know that Dumbledore's gay.
Exactly.
Marilyn says, I think she's mad about the incompetence of Yates with the press. And Sam says WB would also go after her if she says too much about what is coming in the movies.
Well, exactly. That's what I think. I honestly think that this is kind of if I was in J.K. Rowling's shoes, I would probably say it differently, but I kind of think I would be in the same mindset of, I don't want to tell you guys, but I've planned out these 5 movies. I've written this. You guys haven't seen this yet. You guys don't know what I got. I want to wow you, and you guys gotta let me stop asking questions.
Well, and it's worth noting that, like, because there are these people who don't know he's gay or don't know that he and Grindelwald were in love. Like, by the time they made the last Harry Potter movie, the David Yates, the people making the movie, knew that Dumbledore was gay. But that does not come across in the last Harry Potter movie. In the last 2 Harry Potter movies.
No, yeah.
Like, at all.
They just, the thing is, they cut that whole storyline of Dumbledore.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's cut. Which, in a weird way, it's kind of, it would work out good, because, like, we can watch it here. You know what I mean? Like, we can put that stuff we missed in Deathly Hallows, and we can have it all in Fantastic Beasts, and it all works out perfectly. But will we?
Yeah.
That's the question.
But I feel like we have to. Like, it's part of it. Again, it's that part. This storyline is part of the Harry Potter books. It is in Deathly Hallows that this happens. This is canon. Yeah. This is as canon as it gets.
I just watched all of us nod in unison.
I think we could argue that canon point if we wanted to be here for another 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah,
canon. You're right.
She says that he's gay in an interview outside of the novels. So is it canon?
Yeah, I'm saying the canon part is that as a child, Dumbledore was obsessed with Grindelwald, vice versa. That happened canon.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
I've taken, like, the Matrix approach to canon at this point. Like, there is no canon. Like, it's just not real. Canon doesn't exist. It's all in your mind.
I'm just trying to have Matrix.
Canon is what is a dream your heart makes or something like that.
Canon is a dream your heart makes. That would be the episode title if this were an episode.
Yeah. We'll make t-shirts for y'all.
A lot of people want Speak BC pillows now, by the way.
Perfect.
So we'll have to let the Ashley know.
Wink.
Okay. So
what have we learned?
What should we cover?
What haven't we covered? We really haven't, like, followed this doc in order, but
I know, that's why I'm like, okay. So how does this, like, being forthcoming about sexuality fit into Dumbledore's character as a whole? And does it matter that this takes place in the 1920s?
Well, if the Wizarding World is so progressive, yet he makes comments about how backwards they are. So, like, what? What is canon?
I wonder how, like, because you know how in Fantastic Beasts there is this, like, a lot of the times they're in the nomads or the Muggle world, and they have to deal with those because while the Wizarding World has a lot of things, in the spans of the world, it's small, and they have to deal with these muggles and stuff all the time. So I wonder if that, while, yes, wizards accept me, I'm going to have to deal with all these nomads and muggles. Are they going to, like, you know what I mean? Do they have that in their mind at the same time? Like, yes, I can be myself in front of the wizards, but most of the time when I'm in front of the muggles, I have to, like, be quiet or someone's gonna get me because this is 1920s.
Yeah. Well, and Joe
get me.
Get me.
Her comment about with the magical community tending to be more I think she uses the word tends to be more accepting.
Because there's always
which could mean maybe they're not always, and maybe Hogwarts being a real chill place for the queer community was like something that happened under Dumbledore's regime as headmaster.
I mean, like,
maybe it wasn't in the 20s.
That makes
I don't
sense.
know. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but
but I mean, it would make sense in that sense, in that way that, of course, you would think under Dumbledore's being headmaster, he would be like open.
All I know is that I have a deeply treasured headcanon that Hogwarts has a GSA. That's all I know
for sure.
Which professor would run that, do you think?
Definitely Professor
Sprout.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
She welcomes them all.
Leader of the Pucks would absolutely be responsible for the most inclusive club at Hogwarts.
So I think another thing that we have to keep in mind with Dumbledore's characterization moving forward, and so this is what people are talking about in the chat as well. So canon or not canon, we know that JKR is writing Dumbledore as gay for the next movie. However, Yates will then direct Jude Law to portray him a certain way based on what she writes.
You know what made me think? Sorry, here you go.
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I just think that we are at the point where David Yates, like, he's just, I don't know, he's not doing anything like visionary or exceptional with his films. I mean, they're fun, they're great. I loved Fantastic Beasts, obviously. It's everywhere. Like, I never shut the heck up about Newt, but a lot of the reason I love it so much is because of the story, and the story is Joe's part, and that's why, you know, even though I was a little flustered with, you know, her, you know, snippiness with her response and being like, oh, just mute. But at the same time, I also can't imagine what it's like when you have 14 million followers and a bunch of them are screaming at you.
Yeah, that must be insane.
And
of course, she uses the mute button every day, like, or she would not live her life.
Right.
Well, that's my thing. Like, I completely understand that she's upset that people are throwing abuse at her, because they should not be doing that. Even if they disagree with her, that's not the way to handle it. But at the same time, the way that she tweeted it kind of also just felt it in the same way that she kind of deflected the Johnny Depp stuff. Like, it was just very dismissive of the people in her fandom that she's always been so vocal for. And that feels kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it's very dismissive.
Yeah,
it seems so strange
like,
coming from her.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I miss her, like, you know, pen and paper are my priority for 6 years, you know, stuff. Because this is just it's bumming me out, because I like, J.K. Rowling has impacted my life in, like, I've never met the woman, but she's impacted my life in so many ways, and I look up to her. She's my hero. So it's gonna take a lot, if ever, for me to, like, be like, man, J.K. Rowling's canceled. But I'm like, she's making me sad. I'm like, Joe.
And I think
I believe in you, and I know she stands for the right things.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
Are you sure? You can go.
Go ahead.
Right. I was just gonna say I agree wholeheartedly with you, Elena. Like, I tend not to idolize, like, a lot of celebrities or famous people, but she's, like, the one exception for how much she's changed and affected my life. And I think sometimes I fall into a trap where I'm really, really hardcore defending her, even when maybe some of the things she does shouldn't be defended, or at least not defended that hardcore. Like the snippy response on her Twitter. At first I was like, really going up against people who were attacking her for that. And then I was like, actually, that was kind of maybe not the best way that she could have handled that.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I think people should not be angry at her, but she shouldn't be like, whatever.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit too on the last episode, and it's like, it's hard because before, like back in the good old days, it was just kind of her and us, or at least it felt that way. And
yes.
And she would give us hints on her website and then not say anything for months, and it was just like, she could do no wrong. But now there's a franchise behind her and like 50 guys in suits controlling what she does. And it's not, and it's not always her. Like,
and that's the frustrating part.
A lot of times, and it's like, I feel like especially kind of going back to the Johnny Depp thing, the way that she phrased, "This is all I can say right now." You know what I mean? Like, this is what, I forget what she wrote exactly, but it was something along the lines of like,
it's like, Joe, blink twice if you're in trouble. We'll come to you.
It's like she phrased it in a way where she's like, I have a multi-billion-dollar company behind me that will get me. If I say anything wrong. Like,
they're coming for me.
They're coming for me. Like, you guys,
like,
I'm
but just imagine. I mean, you and your Dumbledore's army shirt. Like, we will show up and be like, "Get away from our Joe, WB!" Yeah. Like, we won't let them hurt her. She's our queen.
Yeah,
long live the queen.
I mean, I feel like, and again, like you were saying before, I feel like I do give Joe the benefit of the doubt most of the time because of everything she's done, and sometimes she does mess up. But it's like I feel like as a fandom, why we keep talking about this and discussing this is because we read her books, we know her ideals, so we're like, something's, it's not, we're not going straight for cancel J.K. Rowling. Something's off, something's not right here. We know, Joe, why is this happening? Like, it's more of a we can see something's like unsettling instead of just going for her throat, you know.
That's a great way to put it. Something is off.
It doesn't feel like, I don't know, quite as magical.
Feels like a franchise now.
Yeah. No. What have we done?
Which is always my fear.
We're all in denial too. We're just like, no, it's fine. Everything's great. I love it.
Because
like,
like the dog surrounded by fire.
That's
all of us.
I do really agree with Joe. One thing I really actually do agree with her tweet is that we haven't seen this movie. We've never seen this movie, and I don't think we could say it's trash.
Well, we don't know what this movie's even really about.
They should notice the trailer so we can,
Yes,
right. Somebody in the chat earlier on said, "Less Yates, more trailer." And I was like,
"Yes, less Yates, more trailer." Yes, that's
another quality episode title that would make.
Less Yates, more trailer. Yes. Oh crap! I was going to say something and it flew out of my brain.
Talk less, smile more.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, literally.
I have to give Anne
I need a
trailer. Anne is such a precious nugget.
Talk less, smile more applies to like David Yates, J.K. Rowling, just everyone at WB. Just like just at least for now.
I remembered it. Okay. Sorry, I was like, it was like a billywig flying around, and I was trying to catch it. So my thing is though, like I'm the first person to be like, because I actually was before Cursed Child came out, I was like, guys, we haven't even seen it yet. Let's be hopeful. Let's trust in Joe and hope that it's gonna be great. And I was like so ready to love and embrace Cursed Child till the end of my days.
That's not really what you sound like, by the way.
Good. Okay, good. Because I'm terrible at impressions of myself. But I was like, I really was hoping it was going to be good, and then I wanted to set it on fire. But with Fantastic Beasts, I was kind of the opposite. I was like super skeptical. I was like, I hope it's going to be good. I'm hoping, but I don't know. And then it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean,
there was a lot of stuff that went into, Fantastic Beasts, the first one. Like, they really hyped up Serafina's character. I'm like, Serafina, she's amazing. She's got her own character poster, an amazing wand, and she's a boss. And then she's in it for 10 seconds, and 2 of her lines are the same. Like, it was such a letdown. And so that's kind of why people are being like, oh, we haven't seen the movie yet. Don't judge it. And I'm just like, the fact that we haven't seen it yet is why I'm so skeptical and nervous. Like, I want to be hopeful, but I just don't know anymore. I don't know who to trust.
They need to do what Star Wars does, where they drop like one trailer and then say and do nothing for like a year. And then the movie comes out. And then you just judge the movie completely on the movie's merits.
Everybody just be quiet. Like, that's what the team needs to take.
But the thing is
also,
it's you can't, in bringing up Star Wars, you can't win. As the creator, you can never win. Because Rian Johnson gets berated on Twitter every day for Last Jedi. God bless him.
But that's okay, because only the greatest people get hated on, and Rian Johnson is a nugget who I will protect.
He's so amazing.
I adore him.
Gosh, I love his Twitter so much.
Don't even at me.
Anyway, I want Taika Waititi to direct Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Oh, sorry, that reminded me of my other thought that left me. Is when we were talking about David Yates directing Jude Law, being like, don't. Is that I remember when the films first were announced that there was like people were like Alfonso Cuarón might direct it, and I was like, yes. And
Guillermo was my hope. Like, oh my gosh.
But I remember it just, this conversation made me remember that in Prisoner of Azkaban that Alfonso was like, play Lupin like how did he say? How did he describe?
It's like a gay junkie, like something like that.
That was how he was like, do it, do that. And it's like, Alfonso gets it. He gets it. Like, he would be like,
well, that's,
hey Jude, you do you. Like, Jude, like, let it go. Like, you know what to do. I feel like that's what Alfonso's approach would be.
Yeah, like just gay it up.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like I haven't liked any of the Harry Potter movies that David Yates has directed. Like, I don't know why he's
my favorite is Half-Blood. My favorite.
Half-Blood
I
is
think
alright.
is his best work, which kind of ironically deals with romance the most.
Yeah, that's true.
I actually blame Michael for like making me a David Yates not liking person convert, because I used to love David Yates, and I don't know, just like the more I learned about filmmaking and the more work of his I saw, the more I was like, okay, you're a bit basic, David. I mean, you're cool, but I mean, you're not like, you know, pushing boundaries and, you know, doing things like, you're no Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
But
I really liked his Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows movies, though.
Yes, I do too.
In his defense,
Half-Blood is actually my favorite.
I like, Deathly Hallows Part 1.
I felt like he really he learned the series and the audience by that point, and like,
I think that's why they've retained him, because he's pretty basic. He doesn't do anything too extreme.
Yeah,
proven he knows the world well enough.
Well, yeah, his
the very
vision
is the vision
choice.
they banked on for you know, the amusement park and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, so he's not going anywhere.
I saw. Do you guys know Beyond the Trailer, Grace on YouTube?
No,
I don't know.
Well, she made this video.
Sounds fun.
Yesterday. What was it called? It was about queer baiting and this story.
Huh. Oh, good. That was the next thing I wanted to talk about.
She kind of takes, and she's her channel deals is just movies and analytics too about films. She kind of takes both sides to it, where she talks about where is like this is a problem, but also she kind of talks about this from the production side of this, and it's like, this is a big risk for Warner Brothers. Like, it doesn't seem like it, but it is. Like, and you kind of forget. Oh, look, I'm on YouTube and I can see myself.
Yeah, it's like a few seconds behind.
Fourth wall.
It's confusing.
I'm trying to, let me look up the title of that video real quick. Beyond.
So, guys.
Alex also thinks that Yates is vanilla. High five, Alex, for being on the same page.
So I want you guys to talk to me about queer baiting, because I understand that it's a thing, but I don't necessarily understand how
Cracks
it works.
My knuckles, shuffles my note card.
Yeah.
Where to begin?
I mean, you can go first, Elena. I'll give thoughts after.
So queer baiting is basically a kind of like, I guess, a principle, or I don't know. It's a thing that happens in media where the writers will write 2 characters, and they'll be like, there will be all of this subtext, because subtext is a hugely important part of wow, I speak words great, is a very important part of media. Like, you have like what's happening on the surface level, what the characters are saying, and then you have the subtext, which is supposed to, you know, put emphasis on like the things that are in the regular part of it. And with queer baiting, they will put those low-key and subtle sort of hints in there that like, these people are queer, these people are queer. And then the second that it comes to facing that, it gets ripped out from under you, and you're like, nope, but they're straight, no homo.
Well, there's like 2 different kinds of queer baiting. There's the like, oh, the fans have started to like ship this, so now we're gonna give them like little hints, even though they're not actually supernatural.
Yeah. No, and then the other kind want to get me started on Supernatural, because you will never go home. Never.
There's the supernatural queer baiting, and then
there's send me a bottle. Like, good God.
There's like Cursed Child, where I honestly don't think when they were writing it, they thought like, oh, look, they're kind of, they might be gay, but they're not.
Also, are you kidding me?
But, like, I don't know. Yeah. But like, it's that, okay, maybe they didn't mean it, but like, they still.
They're gay.
But someone should have said something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once again, it's like, girl, are you sure?
They're theater people, so they should know better.
This is theater. Come on, someone knew.
So is it literally like they're trying to like bait gays?
It's a tease.
Yes. What happens is with shows with Supernatural is they see on Tumblr and online that a lot of people ship Dean and Cass, and they're like, this is a huge majority
Haley,
of our
you
fan
don't
base.
want me in on this conversation.
I'm sorry. I'm doing a light spiel. So
yeah, we don't have time to get into Supernatural.
I'm gonna try to contain myself.
And they'll say, oh, okay, this is a huge part of our fan base. They are going to be mad if we just say in the show, no, I am straight and I don't like Cass. That sentence will never be said on Supernatural. In that, solid, that's what's happening. So what they do instead is there'll be episodes where they'll brush shoulders, or they'll say a sexual line, or they'll stare at each other, but nothing will ever go past that. And you have them on the hook. You're queer baiting. You have them on the hook.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the queer viewers without actually making it queer.
Because they know I'll never stop watching. I hate it.
So they're trying to like have their cake and eat it too. Like, oh, we're gonna give this to you, but we don't want the controversy.
You don't know if it's you're keeping people on the line basically. It's like a relationship where you're like, oh, after I'm done dating this person, then we can be together. It's kind of like that, if you like in that kind of way.
Well, and it's like they know that is gonna keep generating content. If the character was just like, no, I'm straight, we're not a thing, then probably not all of the queer viewers would just stop watching. It'd be kind of upsetting. But like
another example is Sherlock.
Yeah. But there wouldn't be the gifs of them looking at each other, because obviously they filmed it like that. There wouldn't be all of this content, as much content that the fandom is generating that comes directly from the show. They'd still be writing fan fiction, but
although I do think that I honestly don't think that is what Fantastic Beasts is going to be doing, because we have solid confirmation from J.K. Rowling, the writer of this 5-part movie series, that yes, Dumbledore is gay, and this is what happened in his childhood, and that is what happened.
She's not fully in control of what happens, and I wonder if the powers that be are going to be like, okay, well, we can have some subtext, sure, but we're not going to actually make this a thing.
The thing is, I don't know. I again, like Elena says, I actually do still have hope. I believe in
I don't know why I do.
But I do. It's because there is 4 more movies left. And J.K. Rowling is like, I have a solid... I remember at that press event, I was there at one of the movie theaters where she's like, I'm making 5 films because I planned out 5, and that's what we're doing. And
Haley,
I believe that she
blessed.
has... I am #blessed. And we all #blessed. I believe that in that 5-part saga, that story is going to be in there. I think that right now, she is battling with Warner Brothers. She's battling with the studio that she has to keep it silent for now because in a way, yeah, they're kind of stringing us along, but I feel like this would be the stringing along where there is a resolution. That's J.K. Rowling's. That's what she's giving. You know what I mean? Like that's the compromise. Not? Like I feel like there has to be. I feel like that's the compromise that would happen between Warner Brothers and Joe. That Warner Brothers says, I don't know. She says, okay, we can drag it out for a bit, but we got to do it eventually at the end.
I think it's impossible to avoid narratively.
Yeah.
Because
it wouldn't make any sense.
The idea is that the dramatic climax of this whole series is going to involve the 1945 duel. Mm-hmm. That's your action-based part of the culmination of the plot. But you also have to have the emotional climax at the same event as well, which that would be the relationship those two shared. You can't have the duel without acknowledging the relationship.
Like the "I loved you, Anakin" part, it's that part of the
exactly.
Movie.
Now, what I struggle with is like, and I struggle with this with a lot of like creators and a lot of fandom things, is I want that representation, but I also do not trust a straight person to do it properly. And I don't trust J.K. Rowling.
We don't know shit.
I don't trust David Yates. And like, that's just because like they're straight. And like, I know that these aren't experiences that they've had. But it's obviously still important for that representation to happen. And most creators that are like big are straight people. And this applies to like white people writing people of color and men trying to write strong female characters. Like, it's not always done right. And it's like, so.
Because you don't have those experiences. So you can't write to them.
And so I worry, I want it to be like, okay, Dumbledore is gay in the movie, but I worry that if they did it too much, it would be bad.
Yeah, one of the things I remember that there's this tweet I remember that someone said to Joe a while ago, where I forget exactly how they worded it, but it was like, I think I can find it really quickly. Oh yeah, it says thank you. Someone said thank you so much for writing Harry Potter. Something about that you said that Dumbledore's gay, but I can't see him that way. Sorry. And she said, what do you mean you can't see him? Gay people are normal people. That was her response, is that gay people look just like everybody else. That was her response. So it's
they all have rainbow flags sticking out the top of their heads though. There's that. Like,
it's true. Got her there. I have like a perception filter, so you can't see mine right now. It's
Yeah, her response exactly
behind that sheet is a giant bi pride flag.
Yeah, her quote was maybe because gay people just look like ... people. That was her response. So it's like I feel like we know that her view on this is seemingly correct. You know what I mean? She seems to be in the right mindset about this issue. Will Warner Brothers approve her writing it that way? Oh no.
Well, that's why I'm so flustered with her, because I know that Jo is a woman that stands for inclusion, because she's great. And I mentioned this in the common room, I think it was. She's great at allegory to people's struggles. Like Lupin, she's said in interviews, is literally supposed to represent the struggles that people went through during the HIV and AIDS crisis. Like he's severely othered by the wizarding community because he's a werewolf, and that's symbolism for those people. She's got the house elves, with her old slavery like allegory. So she knows that these are important topics, but there comes a point, and I've said this before,
the Muggleborns and stuff.
Exactly. There comes a point where she's got to put her money where her mouth is. And I know that she believes in these things. Yeah, and I know that she has her heart in the right place, and I think that's why I still can't bring myself to muster a fiery rage for her, because I know that she believes in good things. But I think there also comes a point when you're dealing with an identity that isn't yours, you have to listen to the people who are of that identity, and I don't know that she's really listening to her queer fans who are trying to say, hey, like, we don't want to be mad at you, but listen to us. You know?
And I was about to say
Alex,
the problem with that on Twitter is that we're saying that we know her background, we know her opinions that she writes on Twitter, that she's written her books, that she said in interviews. The common Twitter user doesn't know these things about her, and it's just like, Joe, what are you doing? And it's like, when you try to respond in a way that's like, no, I don't think that's what she means, you can get attacked sometimes about saying that you're enabling her. But it's like, no, it's like, I know she's better. You guys, I can't explain it, but I know. And it's just it's such a hard
I've known this
position to
woman
get in.
since I was 8 years old, even though I've never met her.
I was in the same room as her once at the Lumos charity ball, and we had a connection.
Oh, wow. Yeah, like what Elena was saying, Alex in the chat said, I think the biggest problem is that these people who try to represent queerness, women, people of color, etc., don't admit that they don't get it. They pass it off like, oh, no, I totally get it. And that's like the biggest part of the issue is like, what we need to do is just be like, hey, we're privileged and we're going to shut the heck up and listen to what you're saying. That's all it is. Like, and it's really not that hard.
Like when white people try to sit there and frame like, oh, well, Black Lives Matter isn't about white people. It's like, honey, it's not always about you.
No.
Like, this is, of course, no freaking duh, every life matters. We get that. But the conversation is not about that.
Yeah.
White people have had
that reminds me of
forever.
Very recently, a good thing that Emma Watson did was, I'm trying to find the exact quote or whatever, but it was basically her saying, I know that I've made mistakes in how I've represented feminism in the past, and I want to learn. Guys, teach me. Like, it was her making a statement being like, I look back on things I've said and realized, no, that's not right, and I want to fix that. And it's like, thank you, Emma.
Yeah, you know how Facebook is like, here's something you said on Facebook 7 years ago.
And you're like,
no.
Like, ew, get rid of that.
I actually, when those things pop up, I'm like, delete. But I mean, like, people are obviously always learning and growing. No one comes out of the womb knowing how to deal with all this stuff. But it's about like having the conversations and listening to people and recognizing when you're the one that needs to maybe stop talking and do the listening, which I should probably do right now.
You're doing a great job, man. Although, sadly, I actually have to go.
No.
I'm sorry. I know we're dropping like flies. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I stayed 16
Elena,
longer than
we're going to have no more gays left.
We have a Shannon and a Craig.
God bless. I mean, eventually.
You'll have no more buys left.
Eventually, it'll be me and Haley being like, I don't know.
you could say that as I leave, I should say bye. But, you know.
Nice.
That joke's not tired. Although, okay, I will end on one fun thing. So there's this meme that it has nothing to do with Fantastic Beasts. I'm just going to say it before I go, though, because it's great and a treasure. And it's that scene from The Incredibles. And it's like, the top part of it says, when asexual and bisexual people are talking to each other. And then the image is from The Incredibles when she's like, according to the government, neither of us exist.
Oh, yeah. I see that, yeah.
It's me and Elena every time we talk.
Me and Elena, we're just like, the government doesn't know. And it's great. So that's
get away with anything.
We're not even real. It's the purge all the time for us. But yeah, this has been a sheer delight, and I hope you guys continue chatting and talking about important things.
Thank you for your insights, as always.
Love you guys. And bye, everyone in the chat. You're all very shiny. I see you.
They're all very sad that you're leaving.
I'm sad that I'm leaving them.
I have to
and also, I didn't
mute
say
myself real quick and take a call.
Okay. Craig,
no.
You're representing the whole spectrum now.
Wow, now I've got the whole spectrum under my belt.
And then, and
suddenly I have to go. Oh my God.
No.
All right, bye, friends. Take care.
Bye.
I don't even know. Where were we?
I mean, we have covered a lot of stuff.
Fantastic Beasts.
Fantastic Beasts.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to cover that we haven't?
Let me think. Anyone in the chat? Do you guys have any more questions? Tippity type them.
Tippity type them.
I didn't think this would happen. I really thought, I was like, we have so much discussion content, which like we do, but
You do. You just
Well,
gotta
we
give
covered
me a
a
question
lot.
and I'll just keep going.
yeah.
Oh, also, you don't want Shannon to miss out on all the fun.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. She had to take an important call. Who knows? That could be from
Who knows?
the president of
Forever.
Nova
Yeah.
Scotia.
The president of Nova Scotia.
Is that its own country?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
I mean,
Apologies.
You're giving them ideas, though.
Canada. Yeah.
what? Okay, question. What do you guys think about the idea of that they're just trying not to spoil. They're trying not to spoil people because some people don't know the storyline at all.
Again, like I mean, I say again because I talked about this on the last episode a little bit, but I don't like that we're catering this series to people who don't know much about Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. And I understand why they're doing it because like they're going to make more money that way. But I just feel like, you know,
I think that's the never-ending struggle of the mega fan and the Potterhead is that we
know so much.
have these deep encyclopedic knowledge. We know so much. We want so much. We're constantly on forums and Tumblrs and this, that, and the other. But these movies are being produced by a major studio that has to appeal to a casual fan and has to make money because that's their goal. That's their job. So they're not always gonna.
Yeah,
they can't cater to us.
And I mean, it's weird too because, like, in some cases, the Potter films assumed that you had a certain amount of knowledge already. Like, there's a lot of stuff in there that they don't fully explain.
There really is.
If you ask my dad who the Marauders were and what they did, he would be like, I don't know, Draco Malfoy.
They're not in the movies, and I often forget this. They're not.
Yeah.
It's never explained.
Yeah, there's plenty
They're
of stuff
actually kind of like bad movies narratively because they assume that you know a bunch of shit that you don't actually know.
Hi, welcome to the movie. You read all 7.
The Harry Potter movies bad?
What? And suddenly with Fantastic Beasts, we're like, oh no, we need to explain everything. These people don't know anything about this. And I'm just like,
except they don't explain everything. They don't explain the second Sailorverse. They don't explain like Elderworley. Like,
I'm not completely. I've met a lot of people who have actually never seen Harry Potter and watched Fantastic Beasts, and they really enjoyed it. And they were like, I got it. It was cool. And I'm okay with everything not being explained again because this is a 5-movie franchise. Like, we gonna get some more stuff. But it's, I don't know. I hope that because I feel like Fantastic Beasts does a much better job than Harry Potter, narratively. I think explaining things, I think you don't have to have seen Harry Potter to watch Fantastic Beasts. It would make a lot more sense. It'll be a lot more fun if you have and you know everything. There's a lot more Easter eggs for you. But you can watch it without it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Sam says, when do you guys think we'll actually see present-day Dumbledore and Grindelwald together in a scene? Deathly Hallows led me to believe not until the duel in 1945. Do you think, like...
Oh, like in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, like, do you think their interactions are entirely in flashbacks?
I think maybe not this movie, but I think that there will be the Voldemort Dumbledore battle at the Ministry, something like that will happen before the big boss battle at the end, I think, or at least an interaction, and they'll be like, "Get back here," and he'll be like, "No," and he'll apparate, and then he'll be like, "Done it, foiled again," and then like, something like that. Like,
or there's gonna be a moment where like they see each other across a crowded street, and then Grindelwald's gone, and he's like.
For a second,
it's hard to say.
We'll start, and he'll look across, and then Grindelwald will look like, "Not today," and then he'll disappear.
The bus will go by, then Grindelwald will be gone.
Oh my gosh! Like, that's such a cliche thing, but that's so something that will happen.
It's gonna happen.
So something that would happen.
It's gonna happen.
Like, or he thinks he sees him, and it's like, Dumbledore, what is it? And he's like, nothing.
Oh, the nothing, yeah.
Oh.
You just see someone from the back with that haircut.
And that's what happened. That's a cliche. And it's someone else, and he turns around and he's like, I thought it was. And it's not. That one brother.
So Sam says, I'm conflicted about this because Albus tells Harry he didn't want to see him because he was afraid to know what happened in the duel that killed Ariana.
Good point.
Good point.
I think that
has that definitely already happened at this point?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. It happened when they were around.
Sometimes I have a hard time
happens
with
when
the timelines.
Yes, they're 17. Yeah.
Yeah, when they're young.
Which I'm pretty sure that summer, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the only time they actually like really hung out.
Yes.
Yeah.
For like a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Grindelwald
that
was like on holiday.
Yeah.
He's on holiday with
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Mathilda Bagshot living with her.
The other snake lady.
And
the other snake lady.
Snake lady. And they talked because they found each other very interesting because they're all very smart in that they had sent each other little love letters.
Now I'm just seeing an image of like 16-year-old Dumbledore sliding up to Grindelwald and being like, I find you very interesting.
We're gonna get it. We're getting these flashback scenes. The kids they've been cast. That's my thing. We're getting that's happening. It's going to happen.
But are we getting
unless it's been cut?
Are we getting Are we getting flashback scenes? Or are we getting
pictures of them?
Snape's memory.
Don't even
where it's like foggy and quick and then it's like, what?
No. Oh my gosh, sorry. Like literally, that is my biggest grievance with the Harry Potter movies is that scene. Like, it's the best chapter in the books. It's such a
How
good
else
chapter.
were they gonna do it though?
What?
Like,
Snape's source memory?
Yeah.
Like actually do the scenes? Like not make it 5 seconds?
Well, the thing is that with Snape's worst memory, the movie assumes that it's his worst memory because
he's Billy James. It's his worst memory because Lily rejected him.
Yes,
that is the reason.
That's why it's his worst memory, and the movie is just like, nah.
Like James bullies him every single day. Like that's nothing.
That's true.
Ugh,
yeah,
ridiculous.
I never liked that.
Scene is trash.
Yeah, you're right.
Ooh, sorry.
Haley and I are going to start a podcast, and it's called Haley and Shannon Shout About Harry Potter at Disney World. And every time Haley comes to Disney World,
at this point, we could make like a sub podcast about like Cursed Child and all the stuff that we frequently complain about.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like every episode of Speak Beastie, I literally say, "Please join me for my nude podcast where I scream about things." Where I just scream for 10 minutes straight, and that's it. Gosh, the fact that you put that in my head that it could be like Snape's worst memory like makes me want to cry. The thing is, okay, here's the thing, and I hate to do this, but like, I feel like they have to do it because let us think of The Hobbit real quick. How that movie was 3 movies, and they were kind of like reaching.
The Hobbits are building IKEA furniture.
Yeah, and it's like they kind of just like do a lot of like random stuff. This is 5 movies, and it's like, yeah, I believe that Joe has written a great story for it, but it's like, that's 5 movies, man. Like you got if you have a fully fleshed out story here, put it in. Like use your time. You got a lot of time to tell the story, so like please use it wisely.
Sam says, "Let's not think about The Hobbit."
Not me.
Yeah.
Sorry. I actually have a Hobbit.
Nice.
I'm back in my old room. I also have Hermione though. Even it out.
Nice. Shannon, anything that you wanted to cover that we haven't covered?
Are you eating cheese?
No, I'm eating a Pop-Tart.
Oh, strawberry?
Yeah, of course.
Good choice.
I saw at Target it was like new strawberry Pop-Tarts without frosting, and I was like,
why?
I was like, hell is empty and all the devils are here. Like, what are you talking to me about? That's what I want to talk about today. Pop-Tart discourse. So strawberry Pop-Tarts. I think we've covered everything. I didn't put anything in this doc.
That's okay.
Because I was like, I'm just gonna wing it.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes that's the best way to do it.
Not usually in podcasting, but
all right. Well,
I'm like laughing about this comment where it says, "I'm just excited about the Walt Disney World part. So they make a video podcast, and they'll not pay attention to what we're saying, but just watch us ride Astro Orbiters in the background." Me.
We wouldn't fit in one Astro Orbiter car.
Yes,
We'd be shouting for big hips, Haley.
What is the Astro Orbiter?
It's on top of the People Mover. There's another one. You have to take an elevator
in the sky and faster, and you have to sit in the other person's lap.
You have to literally sit in their lap.
So that's why I've never ridden it.
Yeah, it's you have to go up a weird elevator to get there. It's very strange.
It's dramatic.
It's in Tomorrowland, yeah.
Usually when I'm in Tomorrowland, I only have eyes for Space Mountain. So.
Yeah.
I live in Tomorrowland, so.
You do.
That you do. All right. Anything else from anyone in this video chat or anybody in the lovely little YouTube chat?
Chatty chat.
Before we call it a night?
Dumbledore's gay and they can't take it away from us.
That's our takeaway. Like,
in conclusion, explicit, we don't know what that means. So
yeah, basically.
I think
we'll see.
In conclusion, I say, while I think this press news was handled very badly, I do think
there is that.
I do think that we need to watch the movie before we form a firm opinion. That's my thought.
I think that's a fair
I think it's going to be okay.
I believe in Joe still in my heart. Dumbledore's
I think
always Dumbledore's army right here.
I think even if it's not going to be great, it's going to be just fine.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, whatever they do in this movie with Dumbledore regarding his sexuality, it's going to be a big step forward. If they do something for film, because there's kind of nothing. There's some, but I think TV has progressed far more than film has.
Oh, yeah. I think
so. LGBT. It will be a big step forward, and I'm excited for it.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining. Thank you for your awesome insights, and thank you all in the live chat for being a part of this. It was awesome. We appreciate you joining, especially those of you who stayed up till like 3 or 4 in the morning.
God bless you.
I know, right? You guys are awesome, and we love you. And we'll do this again soon.
Thank you, Speak BC, MuggleNet people, for allowing me to join.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.